In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the Business for Superheroes show podcast. This is Vicky Fraser and this is Noodle, who you might be able to hear, and this is Joe.
Hello.
That was a bit weird because Joe just tried really hard to make me laugh before we started.
Sorry.
Entirely put me off my stride. It's currently Easter Monday, which means it was my birthday yesterday, and Joe got me a chainsaw. Chainsaw for my birthday. Thank you so much. You get me the best presents.
Well, gotta have a chainsaw.
Yep. Need to learn how to use it next. It's not going anywhere near being used until we've both got PPE and personal protective equipment, people, and learning how to use it without chopping any limbs off.
I've seen horror movies.
Joe is joking. For anybody that's listening and is getting genuinely concerned about me and a chainsaw, we're not gonna do anything until we've been taught how to use it properly, are we?
No.
We're really not. Anyway.
Anywho.
So yeah, hope you've all had a truly marvellous long weekend. I've had a pretty good weekend. Have you had a good weekend?
I've had a very, very relaxed weekend. I think it feels quite lazy.
Yeah, which is nice. And yeah, I've been working on and off for a lot of today, but I've also been reading books on the sofa, and it's just been ace. And I've been chatting away to people on email, and I've had, by the way, thank you everybody who sent me birthday wishes. That was really lovely. I've had so many birthday wishes and so many replies to my email wishing me a happy birthday and expressing concern for my limbs, which is reasonable, but I really appreciate it. It's lovely. Thank you.
Nice. And
one of the people who emailed me is a chap called James, and I know he listens to the podcast. So hi, James.
Hello, James.
You're the subject of this week's podcast.
Unlucky. Didn't count on that, did you?
I'm not going to give any identifying details or any of the rest of it, but I am turning our little conversation into a podcast because I think I know it's going to be really, really useful for other copywriters. James is a copywriter, just like me, and I know this is going to be really useful because I know that a lot of people are having the same struggles because I used to have the same struggles, and I still do from time to time, less now, but anyway, basically, James asked me, he's got my book, he's read my book, which you should do if you're listening and you haven't read my book yet. Read my book.
You could buy it or just email to request one.
Yeah, if I'm feeling generous, I will send you a copy. You have to give me your email address. Your postal address. Yeah. So yeah, James has read my book, which was really cool. And he waited for ages for it as well because I was having a bit of a delivery problem at the time. So he was very patient. And he's read it and he said, thanks for your book and podcasts. You read it because then you can read it in a man voice.
Okay.
Not all of it, just.
Dear Vicky, thanks for your book and podcasts. As a copywriter who has spent most of my career in top 10 agencies in London, it's amazing how much one doesn't learn about some of the basics of running a business. Well read. Yeah. Well, you spring it on me. I didn't get a run through. However, after reading your book, I find I'm left with one burning issue. Given all your advice in your material, I'm missing entirely a means to judge what can be achieved through your suggestions. As you work with a level of clients that I'm not familiar with, but perhaps would like to be, I would love to be able to get a better gauge on what can be achieved.
Thank you for that Jackanory style reading.
Well, I don't know what James sounds like.
That's true.
Could have done it in an Irish accent or something, I suppose.
Okay, so he then goes on to ask a bunch of other stuff, but I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what his issue was. So one of his main questions was, how do you judge what fees you can achieve? And my answer to that was, it's kind of a little bit like how long's a piece of string. And I'm not for 1 second suggesting that there is there's no upper limit, because there's always an upper limit to everything that people are willing to pay for. But kind of asking what can be achieved is a bit like, no result. This is kind of where I put my disclaimer in. My results aren't typical. It's like that kind of, the weight loss stuff, results aren't typical kind of thing. And I'm
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah, your mileage may vary. And that's true too. And that's not me trying to sidestep the issue. That is true. What you can achieve through raising your prices will be different from what I can achieve because I am different from you. But the basic way that I achieved my results, and he asked me for my rates. He told me his rates, and he asked me for my rates. I'm not. Shall I share?
No,
I won't share the rates. I did share my rates with him because I'm nice like that. But he also asked, or kind of implied, why don't I share my rates on my website? And I don't do that for a wide variety of reasons, but partly because you can't possibly know what you're going to charge if you don't know what the project is. You don't know how much research is involved. You don't know what the outcome's going to be. For me, if somebody comes to me and says, "Can you write me a sales letter?" my answer is, I don't know. I don't know if I can write you a sales letter or not because I don't know what your problem is. I don't know what problem you're trying to solve. I don't know what you're trying to achieve. And it might be that a sales letter is entirely the wrong thing. And I guess you get the same thing in your business, don't you?
Yeah, we get people turning up wanting to solve problem A when really their problem is somewhere else.
Yeah.
What they need is advice or guidance, and sometimes they just need a bit of advice and help, and other times they need a whole bunch of engineering and some stuff, and sometimes they need to really reassess what it is they're trying to achieve. And people coming to you with a problem often don't really appreciate what their problem is,
or they think they understand the whole thing, but actually they don't, because like people coming to you might say, "Oh, we need a camera to look at this," and actually that, like you say, that's not the problem at all, and they think they know what they're talking about, but they don't, because that's not their specialist
that might be
area.
the worst use of their money.
Yeah,
they might be much better off spending their money doing something else entirely. Yeah,
so that's why that's part of the reason I don't publish my rates on my website. The other reason is that people don't come to me my website is primarily there to generate leads to get people onto my email list, which then I want to get people to buy my products.
Mm-hmm.
I do not use my website to attract private clients, and I do that for a very good reason, because people who look for copywriters on the internet are not big. They don't spend a lot of money on copywriters because they simply don't understand what copywriting is. They think of it as a commodity. If you're a copywriter or a designer or any of the kind of soft skills, if you put your rates on your website, you are asking for trouble. You're attracting price buyers because they are automatically looking. They kind of know what they want already. They want a sales letter, or they want their website writing, and they're looking for the cheapest price.
They want a new logo. They want something pretty.
Yeah, they know what they want. They're the expert. I mean, they're not the expert. They don't have a fucking clue what they're talking about, but they think they're the expert, and so they are looking for somebody to just fill this gap. With very rare exception, obviously this is a sweeping generalization, but with very rare exception, if you're trying to attract private clients through your website alone, then you're going to attract the wrong type of clients. Now, James's problem, I think, or one of James's problems, is that he's so used to working with agencies that he doesn't really know how to position himself as an individual, which is completely understandable. Because he's worked for some big agencies and he's worked on some amazing campaigns, and he's been in the game for far longer than I have.
Big, loud brand names.
Yeah. And so, I find it really flattering, actually, that he's asking me for advice, because he's been a copywriter for much longer than I have.
So his problem is not going to be his skills.
No, he's going to, he's going to have
exactly
mad
what he's
skills.
doing.
Yeah. I mean, he's been part of multi-million-pound advertising campaigns and all the rest of it. It's not talent that's the problem here, and it very, very rarely is talent that's the problem. And it's very rarely hard work that's the problem, and it's very rarely ability. Sometimes it's all three of those things, or a combination of the above, but certainly not in James's case. It's not. He's got the props to do the work. His problem is that he's been working with agencies, and he said himself when he replied to my reply that he kind of gets it. I don't work with agencies because not anymore. Anyway, I used to, and I got some really good breaks from agencies, and I am forever grateful for that. But most agencies, and again, this is a sweeping generalization, most agencies will treat you as a commodity because of the nature of the way they work. Especially if they are design agencies, because they tend to be more interested in the design side of things, which is understandable because that's what they do.
Yeah.
They don't tend to understand selling.
Sure.
Again, that's a sweeping generalization, and there are going to be designers out there gnashing their teeth and sticking pins into a voodoo fetish version of me, and that's fine. I'm not, if that makes you angry, maybe I'm striking a nerve. And I know that that's not the case for all agencies, but for a lot of them, they treat copywriting like a commodity and like a second class.
It's just kind of words. It's just filling the spaces in the middle of the website.
Yeah. And they'll say, we need 250 words on this. And it's like, well, what? I don't know how many words it's going to take to sell, XYZ product.
What's it for?
And therein lies the problem with writing for agencies. They also are constrained by the budgets that they give their clients as well. So, they're delivering a whole project. They've quoted this price to a client.
Now you have to come in under the price that they expect to pay.
Yeah, which is, by the way, asked backwards. They should be getting a quote from a good copywriter and then putting their own quote together to incorporate the whole thing. But, that's neither here nor there. So the first problem, I think, is that he's been working for agencies, and that's a difficult thing to do. You're going to struggle to get out of, bargain basement to moderate fees.
Yeah, because an agency is going to know 20 copywriters, and they're going to know the price per day of each of them. They're going to know the rate that their client is prepared to pay.
Yeah.
They've got their quote in, and they're just going to go, well, this one sounds like James, or this one sounds a bit, James is a bit expensive for this one, or, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just going to pick a cheaper copywriter.
Yeah.
So you're never going to make much.
No, and, there are going to be exceptions to that. There are some amazing agencies out there who work from a point of view of looking at the whole thing, because design and copy are equally important. You have to be able to read the words on the page, and the design has to work with the copy to make the message stand out. But it all has to come from the point of view of the customer and the sales message and their problem and their pain. And that's the problem with a lot of agencies, is that they don't come at it from that view. In fact, a lot of bloody copywriters don't come at it from that view, which is what I was moaning a little bit about last week. But you can get a great start from agencies. You can learn an awful lot. I learned an awful lot. I learned a lot about how to work with clients. I learned a lot about copy. I learned a lot about the whole industry, and it was really, really valuable. But if you want to break out and take the next step and start earning more money, then you are going to find it very difficult to do so working with agencies. With exceptions, rare exceptions, but generally it's going to be difficult. So it's all about positioning yourself as a copywriter who works with the kind of clients that can afford you, really. And that's what I do. Another thing that I want to point out is that as a freelancer, and I'm making air quotes now because I don't like the term freelancer, but as an independent kind of writer stroke designer or whatever, you're not working for somebody, you're working with them. Because if you're working for somebody, the balance of power shifts. Because, you guys don't work for Coca-Cola, you work with them.
Other soft drinks providers are available.
Shall I get them to cut that out?
No, it's fine.
Is that all right?
No, we typically work with them.
Yeah, your partners and, your integration partners and all the rest of it, because they can't do what they need to do without you, and you can't do what you need. Obviously, you need them because they're your clients.
They're the customer.
Yeah, so it should be a partnership. So if anybody is looking for somebody that they want to work for them, and by the way, here's another big thing. If anybody says that they use copywriters, run in the other direction. You don't use people. That's pretty grim. You don't use graphic designers.
You work with them.
You do work with them, yeah.
You employ them.
You appreciate their skills.
Yes.
You work with them. This is not to say that, you're going to be totally arrogant and go, I always know the best thing to do, blah, blah, blah. But, hello, Noodle. But you are the expert, and, you should be working together. So who do I work with? James was asking me who I work with and why. I work with successful business owners who understand sales and marketing, who understand the psychology of selling, but who either don't want to or can't do their own copywriting for whatever reason. And I only work with clients who've got a lot of money to invest in this and are happy to do so as well. And it's the same with you guys, isn't it?
Yeah. There's no point messing around with small numbers.
No, there isn't, because, we don't come cheap, do we, Joe?
No. And it's... That's kind of not the point, is it? It's that whole marketing budget nonsense. It's like, how much money should you be spending? Well, you should be spending it in the right place, and it should bring in more than you spend. So the more of it you spend, the more money you're going to make. Yeah. That's the way it should work. If that's not the way it's working, then you're spending your money in the wrong place.
Yes. I had another point to make then. It was a really profound one, and now it's gone out of my head.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault at all. I had a sip of wine and it went away. Yeah. So... Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's not all about money either. This getting good clients, this getting the right clients, isn't just about making more money, although that is a part of it. How much happier am I since I've been working with really...
Oh God, yeah, loads. Much less stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I've had one or two clients in the past 6 months that I haven't necessarily enjoyed the work very much, but actually working with the people, it's been brilliant because these are people that are becoming friends, and some of them are friends already. And they didn't start off as friends, by the way. I never work with my friends because it's a bad idea. But the clients that I have now either have become or are becoming friends.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important. You need to get on with people. And that makes, you could be making a shed load of money, but be miserable. And then what's the point?
Yeah, having a horrible time.
Yeah.
Hating your job. But
absolutely. The money is almost secondary to this whole thing. It's
just a marker that it's working, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going the right way.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm by no means the best copywriter that I know. I'm a very good copywriter. I'm very good at what I do and I work really, really hard. But the people that pay me the big bucks don't just pay me for my skills as a copywriter. They pay me because I'm fun to work with. I get stuff done. I work really hard and I make their lives really easy.
Yeah.
It's like my biggest client doesn't have to worry about the stuff that I do for him because before he hated doing it. He hated that aspect of his business. And now he didn't hate it, but
it was a bother. It was not what he wanted to spend his time doing.
No, it was not. And, this is the same for another of my clients as well. It was not what they wanted to spend their time doing and it bothered them, even though it brought in a lucrative income for them. But I take that problem away and I basically make it go away. I do it for them. They don't have to worry about it. It's all sorted out. They've got minimal work to do now. I take care of it, in very high quality, and everyone's happy.
It's dealt with.
Yeah,
and they
totally
know they can trust you. It just happens in the background.
Yeah, I know they can trust me. So there's, yes, I get results as well, but I make their lives easy. And if you can make people's lives easy and they have money to spend, they will give that money to you. Some of it, probably not all of it. But people with money, businesses with money. Yes, they want results, but they want an easy life.
Yeah.
In the end.
And it's in their interests to spend their time doing the things that they do best.
Yeah.
And if you build websites for a living, you don't want to be doing your own accountancy.
God no.
Because somebody else will do it faster, quicker, cheaper, better, more accurately, and meanwhile you can be making websites.
Yeah.
Doing what you're good at.
Yeah, my assistant, Harriet. Hi, Harriet.
Hi, Harriet.
She's awesome. She does a really good job for me. And a few weeks ago, she sent me a very tentative email saying, "Oh, the extra stuff you've asked me to do is it's putting some extra hours up, and I think I'm going to have to put my prices up." And she was really tentative about it, and I was
She's
like,
been
"Yeah,
listening to the podcast."
Yeah. And I was like. Yeah, sure, that's no problem at all. Just send me stick it on the invoice, send it to me. And I think she was quite surprised because it's difficult to put your prices up. I'm not for a second suggesting that it isn't. But if you're doing a good job for somebody and they enjoy working with you and they're happy with your work, they're not going to bat an eyelid if you put your prices up by 10% or 15% or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just not. Because the pain of going somewhere else to an unknown quantity.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And yeah, you know what? I know I could get a cheaper assistant somewhere, but I don't want to because I know Harriet. She's a friend. She's lovely. I get on really well with her and she does a great job. That's worth more to me than saving a few quid.
Sure.
So that's really important as well. What was next? Let's have a look. Yes, so he also asked me why I don't have any work on my website because he wanted to see what I'd worked on and all the rest of it, which is actually a reasonable question because...
There does seem to be a tendency amongst agencies and graphic designers and copywriters and all the rest of them to have a portfolio kind of thing going on.
Yeah. And I used to have a portfolio and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it works very well for the visual arts, for graphic designers, for artists, obviously because it's very visual, for photographers because you want to see the kind of the style. But the problem that I have with putting a portfolio up isn't just that I'm a lazy trout and for me it's an 80-20 activity and there are things that I would, much better spend my time on and I can't be bothered. But the other problem that I've encountered... Well, no, I mean, you're laughing, but it's true. There are better things for me to spend my time on. The other problem, and I've encountered this in the past, is that a lot of people who ask for examples of work tend to be time-wasting, tire-kicking price buyers.
Right.
Not all of them.
Checking your punctuation and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, God, that does my head in. Not that I said... That's a whole different... Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, they do tend to be time wasters. And the second problem is that what I have written for company A in the tone of voice that suits them, that made sales for them with their specific problem, is going to be light years away from what company D down, who has just asked me for an example of their work, needs. And they're going to show it to the managing director or whatever, and he's going to go, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the fact that he dislikes it, apart from anything else, is completely irrelevant, because he might hate it, but if it makes him money, what's he going to do? Tell me to stop doing it. But also, what works for company A is probably not going to work for company D. It will be written in an entirely... It's like it's like the copywriter who writes for Innocent Smoothies being asked for examples of work by Lloyd's Bank.
Yeah.
And then showing them I've worked for Innocent, here's some stuff I did for them. And Lloyd's is like, well, that's not going to suit us. And it's like, of course it's not going to suit you. It's entirely the wrong tone of voice to have. And so that is another very big reason why I don't put examples of my work up. Because it's just not relevant.
Yeah.
Completely irrelevant. That's not going to be the same for every industry out there. I mean, for you guys, you can put case studies up. And by the way, that's not the same as case studies, because I will quite happily put case studies and client stories up, because it's all about working with me.
Yes.
And that is the most important
Not necessarily the copy.
No, because I can write in a range of different voices, and I've proven this comprehensively from with the last few clients that I've had. I've proven it. I can write in my own voice, I can write in my other clients' voices, and I do that very happily.
Yeah.
And very well. And so looking at what I've done for them is completely a waste of time.
For anyone else.
For anyone else, yeah.
Yeah.
The best, I mean, my best portfolio really is people who read my book, read my daily emails, listen to my podcasts. This is my portfolio.
Yeah.
Because I understand sales and marketing. I understand biopsychology. I understand what it takes to make sales. I don't always get it right, and I'm certainly not the best in the field, but I know what I'm talking about with this stuff. And that's far more important than having a body of work that people can pick through. And also, by the way, swipe, because that happens as well.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really, yeah, and I think James's main question was pretty much, how can I charge more? My answer to that is
by charging more.
Put your prices up, yeah. And, put them up by 10%. Keep doing it until you find the edge of the pricing bubble, which...
But it sounds like as well, he needs to move away from the agencies. So
yeah.
How does he dip a toe into not working for an agency?
By attracting the kind of clients that he wants to work with. And that was another problem that I got from his reply in my email, was that he wasn't... he said himself, I'm just kind of looking for it now, but he said himself that he's not really sure who he wants to be targeting. And that's a massive problem.
Oh, he needs to sort that out.
Yeah, if anybody is having trouble, it's not necessarily about niching, because I always do talk about niching, and niching is really important. And you might be thinking, well, you don't niche, you've got clients all over the place. Yes, I do, but my niche is business owners who understand sales and marketing, who don't have time or inclination to do it, and who can afford to pay me. And that is a niche. It's not even a particularly broad niche.
I think your niche as well is fairly small or low number of employees.
Yeah, definitely.
Companies.
Yeah.
That are doing well.
That are doing well, yeah. Businesses that are already doing well. Because that's my private client avatar, if you like. That's entirely different, by the way, from my inner circle avatar and from who my book is aimed at. Because my book is aimed at people like James, really, who are kind of, doing what I was doing. And not beginners, because James is by no means a beginner. But people who are, finding their way in the freelance niche and finding out what they can charge and how to do this premium pricing and premier positioning thing, which I've only learned, in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And it is a big step, and it's a big, scary, hairy step. But yeah, my very first step and my biggest piece of advice to James and to anybody else out there, whether you're a copywriter, a designer, translator, whatever, is decide exactly who you want to work for. Do you want to be, do you want to work for charities? That's cool if you do. Do you want to work for small startups who are, let's face it, not going to have the cash to pay the big bucks? Mm-hmm. Or do you want to work for established businesses who are doing well but want to do better? That's my ideal. Yeah. Small established businesses who are doing well but want to do better. And that's who I would suggest that James goes to. And by the way, I do pass on frequently clients. I've got more work than I can handle with my private clients. I've got I've got a waiting list into June at the moment. And so, if people come along, then I introduce them to the copywriters in my inner circle. And, I do that all the time. One of them is, Mike is transforming his business from, yes, I'm giving him a hand, but he's doing the work. And it's same. Yeah, it's the same with everyone. And, the designers and the website designers and everybody, I'm all in favour of paying forward, I guess.
Yeah, passing around the good stuff.
Absolutely. Because there's a big enough pie for everybody. It's not a thing to become competitive about at all. So how do you charge more? Put your prices up. Target the right people. Target the kind of people who can afford to pay what you would like to ask. It's not a talent problem. It's not an ability problem. It's not a skill problem.
Yeah.
It's a targeting problem and it's a marketing problem. And it's also not positioning yourself as Primark either. And I'm not saying that James does, but when I had a quick Google of him and I came across a website that I thought was his, but actually isn't, and he's shown me his own website now. But on the fees page of this particular website,
which was not James's,
it said, "We don't want to lose your custom, so we're always open to negotiation." And that to me says, bend me over with my trousers on. It's so the wrong message to send out. Yeah. I can't even. And that wasn't the only thing that they said that kind of made me go, "Eeh." But that particular statement was, it says I'm desperate for customers.
Yeah.
And I'll do anything to keep you.
I'll do anything for a bit of money. Doesn't matter how much.
Yeah. Do you know who else says I'll do anything for a bit of money? Crack whores. And it's, I'm not comparing anybody, by the way, to crack whores. But, that was a copywriter's agency down south that won him.
Bad, isn't it?
In his own words, 0 clients, and I am not surprised. It's just... So have a close look at your website and the kind of message that you're sending out on it, because whilst I think that the best way to get the best clients is word of mouth, and that's how I've got mine, that's how I've got my best private clients, you still want to make sure that they're still going to check out your website.
Yeah.
So you still want to make sure that the message on there is the right one, the one that suits you. So I hope James has found that useful. I hope everyone else has found that useful. And I hope you've had a lovely Easter. I think this is probably going to turn out to be one of the most valuable podcasts we do.
You reckon?
This month.
This week.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to say, same time next week, basically. Although next week's going to be bloody chaotic because we're completing on a house next week.
Oh yeah.
Buying the dingle.
Which
is so exciting. We're meeting the sandblaster on Wednesday morning.
Going to sandblast the whole house.
The entire house. So yeah, we'll be back same time next week. Who the hell knows what we'll be doing? I was supposed to be interviewing a chap, but I'm not anymore because that was going to happen on the day that we're sandblasting or meeting the sandblaster. So I've rearranged that now.
Okay, so that might not. That's not going to be next week.
That's not going to be next week. I have no idea what we're going to be talking about next week. I'll tell you what. Let's say that we're going to be talking about return on investment because we mentioned that a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? We haven't done it yet.
That's true. We could do that. Or we could invite the listeners to chip in with ideas.
Ooh, yeah. Is there anything? Ooh, that's a good idea. Is there anything you'd like to hear us talking about? They're probably all going to come back and go, I'd quite like you to shut up.
Yeah, stay on topic would be probably a strong request.
We've stayed really on topic this week.
Yeah? It's not been bad at all. It's because it's the first glass of wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not this weekend. There's been quite a lot of wine this weekend.
Quite a winey weekend.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back same time next week talking about who the hell knows what. Possibly chainsaws. If you would like a copy of my book, send me a haiku.
Ooh.
To Vicky@vickyfraser.com telling me why you would like a copy of my book. And if I like the haiku, I'll send it to you for free. If I don't like the haiku, I'll send you to the payment page. If you have already read the book and you would like more advice than you're getting here, and I know James has kind of put his hand up tentatively and said, I might be interested. Go to businessforsuperheroes.com/inner-circle and join us. If you... I've had a deadline, actually. If anybody... Well, you won't be hearing this before the end of March because it's now April that you're listening to us. Time travel in my head.
Good skills. That was clear.
Okay, so I had a deadline, 31st of March. Anybody who joined the Inner Circle would get a copy of this month's newsletter. April's newsletter is all about how to get testimonials that are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was giving away, as a special offer, to celebrate, beginning of spring and Zombie Jesus Day and stuff. I was also giving away a copy of my premium pricing version of my newsletter, which is really relevant to this podcast.
Cool.
And a copy of I've forgotten. Another newsletter as
Some
well.
other amazing thing.
No, it was a good one. Oh, proposals. How to write a proposal, which you shouldn't call a proposal. You should call it something else, but I'm not going to give that away. You'll have to sign up to the Inner Circle and find out, because I'll give you a free copy of the Premium Positioning and Premium Pricing newsletter and a free copy of the How to Write a Proposal that will give you a much better chance of people saying yes to you, as well as this month's. If you join and tell me that you joined because of this podcast, I will give you those extras.
Nice.
Yeah.
30 minutes. Stop. Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.